Back at the old sustainability breakfast, investment in mining in terms of how sustainable is it? A bit of a tricky 2014, but it looks to be picking up a bit 2017.
Well, I can say it's not going to get worse. Last year was a pretty tough year in the industry, and we've seen a good uptick. At least the coal prices are up a little bit, copper's up, iron ore is up, so there's a little bit more positivity. And the gold guys have had a good year last year, but we hope it lasts. It's still very fragile though.
Absolutely. And we've been talking about mine closures. What are some of the innovative ways companies should approach mine closures?
Well, the mine closure is always a very difficult one to set a time period to, because the guys keep on discovering new deposits or extending it a little bit. But the most innovative stuff starts right at the beginning. Plan for the closure, and if you have done that or haven't done that, still engage with the communities around you. Look at what alternative uses there are for the infrastructure. There could be a great use for a pit. We're working with one particular project in Mali where the guys are retreating the tailings, putting it back in the pit. This has led to a second mine in Mali looking at retreating tailings and putting it into the pit. So that's really innovative use of a hole. You don't have a big lake afterwards, you don't have a tailings dam to deal with. So we're really liking that. Some of the mines we're working on now have a lot of waste rock around from the pits or from open cast mining, and the crusher guys are in there and using that up, so it saves them mining somewhere else, doing primary mining, and we get rid of a large source of rock pile, and the really big stuff they can doze into the pit, which should be close by.
Absolutely. And also agriculture has been talked about as a possible filler.
Yes, so agriculture and mining closure are very closely linked. There's normally a lot of land which needs to be used, and there's often a lot of water which is not necessarily good quality water or partially treated water, and it does create a lot of jobs. One can't replace the agricultural sector. Those guys do their own feasibility studies and own work, but what the mine can do is provide a market for the produce. It can provide startup capital for the guys, and help them get off the ground. Once people have experienced agriculture in a commercial sense, they could go on to bigger things.
And community engagement seems to be improving. Are you seeing more dialogue with communities in planning stages?
I think there's has definitely, the projects we've worked on have seen more communication with the communities, and I think there's been a different attitude amongst a lot of companies in South Africa of treating the communities as partners, because if you don't do that, the guys have seen the consequences of that, and they spend their life fighting and costing them money. So we've seen more of a partnership attitude coming out from the majors in South Africa, treating the community as equal, as partners in the business.
And what can we do to improve our usage of water?
There's a lot the mines can do to be more efficient at bringing in less, using it more and recycling more, and there's less wastage. But that is often the direct use, which isn't the direct impacts. There's a lot of indirect impacts where mines capture catchments, build dams, it becomes evaporation, or guys have stooped mines, there's too much water ingression. So they need to spend a lot of time sealing the cracks, stopping water getting into the mine so that it doesn't become contaminated, getting clean water around the mines, around the pits, so that you keep it clean and being fed back into the natural streams.
And illegal dealing with some of the environmental knock-on effects of illegal mining?
That's been a blessing to us and a curse in different ways. There's been a lot of safety issues on coal mining. The guys have gone in, dug, and it's collapsed on them. Gold mining, a lot of the old abandoned areas are full of illegal miners, and one can hardly blame them trying to eke out a living. Safety in mines is a big issue, so it has led to us getting permission now to close old shafts and pits with tailings material, and that's got the benefit of better water management and stopping miners going down, and they can't access these bodies if they're properly closed with tailings material. We save on tailings surface disposal. It's obviously not the solution in all issues on all mines, but it certainly helps a number of the clients we're dealing with.
Obviously technology is helping. Clean Up Mining's Act, Internet of Things also is another talking point.
Yeah, there's a lot more community information out there, people sharing things. Everybody's got a cell phone with a camera, so you companies battle to do things illegally now without it reporting. We are seeing into Africa a lot more NGOs operational, helping people realize their rights. The churches play a big role in a number of countries like the DRC in disseminating information, very important political players in a number of countries. So yeah, citizen science or people reporting incidents is definitely on the rise, and I think to the benefit of the industry, we can clean up things quicker.
And we're hearing clean coal. Is that realistic? Is that something that's coming to the fore?
I think clean coal is not. We're not seeing the benefits as the people had envisaged. I don't know a lot of carbon capture and storage. I don't know a lot of better combustion. We certainly have got more efficient. And I think countries like Australia have put a hell of a lot of money into researching clean coal technologies, but they haven't implemented anything. I saw a politician bandy about a figure on something like $540 million that they put in and haven't seen the benefits. So the concept is good. We've got to continually strive at doing it, but the steps have been small. We haven't seen a step change in coal production and coal usage.
Australia is arguably more productive than us. How can we get to that level of productivity where there's less wastage along the way?
I don't know if that is true. I think South African, the large-scale mines, they mine very efficiently with big drag lines and big equipment. But yeah, productivity per employee certainly is higher in places like Australia or the US. And I think it's training, mechanization, and a lot of that is being driven in South Africa by expectations of higher wages, better living conditions. So you have to have fewer employees if you're going to control your costs. That leads to higher efficiencies.
There's been a fair amount of complaints about the amount of legislation and the hoops you've got to jump through in terms of environmental law. What's it going to take to streamline that?
We would love to see the departments cooperating, and I mean everybody speaks about cooperating properly, doing a one-stop shop approach, using the same type of information. The reality is we haven't seen a lot of this. We've seen that you have to submit a different application for water, for waste, for mining, for land rezoning, etc. So people are talking the talk, but they're not walking it.
Absolutely, there's a lack of action in this country.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And finally, your outlook for 2017, where are the key growth areas in terms of commodity and area?
I think we're going to see a continued focus in South Africa on the Waterberg coalfield as water gets provided up there and rail capacity improves. So I think that will take off and grow. I think the gold guys are going to have an okay time or a very good time if the world economy really collapses. Gold is pretty counter-cyclical. But I think coal primary energy is not going to see a great improvement. The world demand doesn't seem to be moving. But there seems to be a movement to the minerals that you can use in different places. The graphite, nickel, copper, that seems to be improving.